everybody, welcome back to an episode of the 3 Count Super. There we go. Got it. Anyway, I'm War Machine MJ, and I'm here today to talk about Monday Night Raw from May 18th and May 25th. So let's go ahead and jump into the May 18th edition. We kicked off the show with Randy Orton talking about his challenge to Edge for the greatest wrestling match of all time at Backlash, which is coincidentally the tagline. I think it's going to be one massive joke. Anyway, long and the short of it, Randy Orton talked about his challenge. Edge interrupted him, and two of them went back and forth before Edge finally just yelled, "Yes, I accept. Yes, shut up. Yes." So, yeah. Next, we had Seth Rollins and his disciple Murphy come to the ring. Basically, Seth Rollins had the revelation that Rey Mysterio was sacrificed, and it was just a blessing in disguise. It had presented him with a moment of clarity. Of course, Humberto Carrillo interrupted him, and Seth volunteered his disciple Murphy, no longer his buddy Murphy, his disciple Murphy, to a match. We got an impromptu match between these two. As they went back and forth. However, Humberto Carrillo was distracted by Seth Rollins, which allowed Murphy to put him away with the Murphy's Law to get the victory. And once again, Uprocks has a great note here. King Corbin is here, if you were worried. Of course, King Corbin was going to face off against Drew McIntyre later on in the night. Of course, he showed up and he was just, for lack of better phrasing, he was just bitching about random stuff. And it was just really stupid. We had Liv Morgan promo, which I don't know where they're going with this direction for her. Anyway, we had another Charlotte Flair promo, which led to a match between her and Ruby Riott for some reason. And Charlotte won with the figure eight. Whoa. Next. Sorry, just checking something here. Okay, next we had MVP talking with Bobby Lashley in the back. Basically, MVP just reiterated his question. He was just going to ask, when is Lashley going to let Lashley free, and he was going to see him later tonight. Next, we had a celebration for Asuka, hosted by Kairi Sane, where where she was just sending a congratulations to Asuka. Even started playing Asuka's theme on the recorder, which was fantastic. Of course, it was interrupted by Nia Jax, who insulted both of them. And so the Kabuki Warriors beat her down. Well, later on in the night, Nia Jax attacked Kairi Sane, and that kind of pissed off Asuka, who beat the snot out of Nia Jax and just left her lay it. Next, we had Bobby Lashley taking on R-Truth, but before the match, R-Truth says he plans to sack Tom Brady to win back the 24/7, 7-Eleven, 365, I-97 North European Television NWA belt I don't know. He says a lot of funky stuff. I lose track of it. I don't know how he keeps up with it. Anyway, of course, Tom Brady doesn't have the 24/7 title. That's Rob Gronkowski. Easily to get those two confused. Of course, Lashley beat R-Truth with a full Nelson as MVP looked on. Next, we had Women's Tag Team Championship action as Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defended against the Iconics. I kind of miss Rod. Anyway. Yeah, this match didn't last very long because Peyton Royce got disqualified because she ignored the ref's 5 count when she just kept throwing Alexa Bliss into the ring post. Later, the two of them just were going at it, and Billie Kay slapped Peyton Royce across the face and immediately felt bad about it. Please don't break them up. I would be scared to see where they go solo, because that's all we've known them for, is being the Iconics. Just where the hell would they go? Anyway, next we had Shayna Baszler taking on Natalya in a submission match. Didn't last very long, and Natalya tapped to the Kirifuda clutch. Afterwards, Natalya unprofessionally threw a tantrum in the middle of the ring, while the ring crew was setting up for the Kevin Owens show, in which she destroyed some of Kevin Owens' props. Came back from commercial, and we had the Kevin Owens show, where his set was trashed, but he brought in his guest, which was Zelina Vega and her crew, who the fractures were already beginning to become visible within their group. And yeah, it's basically back and forth of Zelina Vega saying, you know, we're all on the same page. Everything is tranquilo. Of course, Kevin Owens is like, yeah, that's cool. I don't trust being around you guys, so I brought in an unexpected guest, which came in the form of Apollo Crews, who the two of the Crews and Owens, you know, attacked Zelina's crew, which led to this tag team match between Kevin Owens and Apollo Crews taking on Angel Garza and Andrade. Of course, Owens and Crews got the victory with some accidental involvement from one Austin Theory. After the match, Austin Theory just tried to plead his case that it was a complete accident, and yeah, Zelina and her crew basically said, okay, yeah, it was an accident, just like this is an accident, and they just beat the hell out of Austin Theory. Even just left him laying at ringside. Of course, we cut away from that, and we had a Drew McIntyre interview where he was talking about King Corbin, in case you were worried. Next, we had Aleister Black taking on Buddy Murphy. Yeah, these two were going at it, of course, you know, putting on a stellar bout. Seth Rollins was, of course, at ringside, and he notices Austin Theory, who is just picking himself back up after he got his shit pushed in. And Seth basically helped him up and told him to attack Aleister Black. Of course, Austin Theory and Buddy Murphy Disciple Murphy beat down on Aleister Black. Afterwards, and this was just absolute great character work. Afterwards, Seth Rollins just kind of embraced Austin Theory, and Austin Theory had that look of, what the hell is going on? Why is this man randomly hugging me? And then you just slowly start to see him just on the verge of a breakdown, just slowly come across his face. And then he embraced Seth Rollins right back. And it was good. It's fantastic. This whole Monday Night Messiah thing, this is a real ballpark. Just like Grand Slam out of the ballpark. Just amazing. As corny as we thought it was going to be, it's fantastic. Next, we had multiple segments throughout the night, continuing in the Street Profits versus Viking Raiders. Anything you can do, I can do better challenge. This time it was axe throwing. Of course, it was the reverse side of the whole basketball fiasco where the Viking Raiders were surprisingly good at axe throwing. No surprise given that they're Vikings. And the Street Profits were complete ass. Of course, the whole thing ended when the Street Profits accidentally threw a axe in a police car, or at the windshield of a police car. Police came up, basically wagged their fingers, and one of the cops was a lady, and she let them all off because which one's Eric? Which one's I? Because she thought Hanson was cute, but not Ray Rowe, and then Ray Rowe looked dejected. Why would Ray Rowe look dejected? He's got a wife. Who cares what some random lady cop thinks about him? Anyway, yeah. Next, it was announced that Apollo Crews would challenge Andrade the following week for the United States Championship. And in the main event, we had Drew McIntyre defeating King Corbin as if anything else was going to happen. But before the match, MVP and Lashley made it known that they were coming after Drew McIntyre. So yeah, we're finally getting Bobby Lashley in the main event picture of Monday Night Raw. So next we jump to the May 25th edition of Monday Night Raw. As for once, Monday Night Raw took a page from AEW and they used some of the Performance Center recruits as members of the crowd. But this time they put some plexiglass on the barricade to separate them from the action. Of course, the audience were ordered to stand 6 feet apart. Now, there were some notable faces within the crowd, such as, the only two that I saw and recognized were Shotzi Blackheart and Jessamine Duke. But there were several others. We opened up the show with the Kevin Owens show, as he was interviewing Asuka. Of course, Asuka was just ecstatic over becoming Raw Women's Champion. She even started a Becky chant. And then she was interrupted by Charlotte. Basically, Charlotte said she should have been handed the Raw Women's Championship since Asuka never beat her, blah, 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 blah. And of course, they were interrupted by Natalya, who came out and tried to apologize to Kevin Owens for destroying his set last week. Then she was interrupted by Nia Jax, and Kevin Owens basically incited a brawl between all four women. Next, we had United States Championship match as Apollo Crews took on Andrade, and this was just an absolute fantastic bell-to-bell, balls-to-the-wall, just hard-hitting match. Of course, they cut away during this match for Angel Garza to hit on Charlie Caruso. Basically, he compared wrestling a match to making love to a beautiful woman. Basically just being that Latin playboy. Actually, he's pretty much putting on the putting on the same or running with the same gimmick as Eddie Guerrero did back in the day. You know, the birth of the Latino Heat, where he was just smooth talking China, which I got no problem with. Angel Garza's great. Anyway, towards the finish, Apollo Crews got the victory with a standing shooting star press. He is the new United States champion. His first piece of gold in WWE after toiling away for several years. He finally has gold to his name. Of course, during his celebration, they cut back to Andrade, who had magically made his way to the backstage and was just pitching a fit. Next, we had a Seth Rollins promo, basically talking about Rey Mysterio, and he will have a retirement ceremony on next week's Raw for Rey. Next, we had the Iconics, who basically apologized to one each other for their actions and words the week prior, and they were interrupted by the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. The Iconics basically dogged them, this, that, and the other, and then we just had this amazing, heartfelt, killer promo from Nikki Cross, who basically said, if it wasn't for Alexa Bliss, I would not be focused. I'd be all over the place. I wouldn't have the success I have today, and I'd like to think that I imparted friendship on Alexa Bliss. Of course, the Iconics and the Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross got to scrapping. Peyton and Billy stood tall with the Women's Tag Team Championships. Next, we had the MVP. We had MVP's VIP Lounge, where Drew McIntyre was the guest. Drew McIntyre was all business. As he was ready to scrap, he started tearing up the VIP Lounge, just ready for Bob Lashley. Of course, Bob Lashley came out, and while Bob Lashley was making his way down ringside, MVP got laid out with a Claymore. And then, MVP got Claymored again to close out the segment. Next, we had Angel Garza taking on Kevin Owens. Of course, Kevin Owens came to the ring first, and he was immediately chop blocked by Angel Garza. Of course, Garza worked over Kevin Owens' knee. Kevin Owens could mount, absolutely zero offense. And when he would, he had the momentum swinging right in his favor. His leg gave out during a pump up power bomb, in which Angel Garza capitalized, hit the wing clipper to go home. Next, we had Street Profits taking on the Viking Raiders in the next installment of the Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better series between them in a game of golf. They went to a professional golf course where all four men got kicked out of the golf course by I'm not sure what the guy's title was, but he kicked them out because they were just ruining the whole thing. And so they went to putt-putt golf, where Street Profits won. And of course, they did this nice little gag towards the end where, again, I can't keep up with who's who, but Hanson started reaching down in the little hole to try and get his ball back. And he started pulling random stuff out. And the one that got me was he pulled out a red Solo cup, and Montez Ford grabbed it and said, "I got spares everywhere." That just kind of popped me. So, next we had Lana talking MVP. Of course, she was making light of MVP getting kicked in the face. MVP said, no, 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 this wasn't directed at me. This was directed at Bob Lashley. And, yeah. Yeah, it kind of went something like that. MVP and Lashley walked off, and Lana just screamed her head off for whatever reason. Like, her performance is god awful, but I don't get why her character is upset with MVP. Like, to put myself in her headspace, wouldn't you be happy that somebody is trying to enhance the career of your man? Like, MVP's out there jockeying for Lashley to get a championship opportunity, which means he could be champion, which means more money in his bank, which means a better life. Why are you trying to get in the way of that? It makes absolutely no damn sense. And then she wants to throw a tantrum like a 5-year-old. It just does not make any sense. Ah, ay Dios mío. Next, we had Disciple Murphy and Disciple Theory taking on Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo. This was just a fairly back and forth match. However, Austin Theory put Humberto Carrillo away with the ATL, the Austin Theory launcher. After the match, Seth Rollins was directing traffic as he was about to, well, put out Humberto Carrillo's eye the same way he did Rey Mysterio's if Aleister Black didn't stand down. He was planning on sacrificing Humberto, and that led to a match next week on Raw between Aleister Black and Seth Rollins. Next, we had Edge talk about his Backlash match against Randy Orton, which will be dubbed the greatest wrestling match ever. Of course, he talked about his recent appearance on the Last Ride documentary, where he talked about retirement. This was prior to him being unretired. So basically, just karma. Or not karma, but basically him eating his own words. Next, we had the Viking Raiders challenging the Street Profits to a bowling match next week in the I Can Do Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better series between them. Yeah. Afterwards, MVP talked some trash about the Street Profits being clowns, and they basically clowned him for getting kicked in the face by Drew McIntyre, which set up a tag team match between Street Profits and MVP and Lashley for the main event. Next, we had a triple threat number one contenders match for the Raw Women's Championship as Nia Jax took on Natalya, took on Charlotte Flair. Nia Jax won with a Samoan drop. No surprise that was going to happen. Next, we had R-Truth cutting a promo on Rob Gronkowski, where he realized that Gronk's the 24/7 champion, not Tom Brady, and basically he said, I'm coming for that ass. And the Rob Gronkowski cut a promo on R-Truth, which was okay, until he took off his glasses and you could see he was reading lines. So yeah, they're hyping this up. So whatever. We had Ric Flair giving his opinions on the greatest wrestling match ever. Nobody asked him, but okay. Once again, Uprocks with the great descriptions. Their description for this Liv Morgan promo. Liv Morgan still doesn't know who she is. And that led to our main event, which was the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, taking on MVP and Lashley. Of course, Street Profits got the victory over MVP and Bob Lashley when Lashley refused to release a full Nelson on Montez Ford, and his team got disqualified. After the match, Lashley and Drew McIntyre just beat the absolute snot out of each other, and some of the trainees in the crowd were asked to separate them. So that's how we closed out Monday Night Raw from May the 25th. So, that being said, done a lot of talking for today. Anyway, that being said, check out Rod's podcast, Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime, on the Castbox app. Check it out. That being said, I'm War Machine MJ, the face of the 3 Count Mafia, and I will see you guys next time. Bang.